Echoes of Wisdom contains a huge number of references to past Zelda games. Many of them are obvious. They show up through locations, characters, enemies, items, and other details. But the game also hides a surprising amount of subtle, easily overlooked references throughout Hyrule. Today, we'll take a closer look at them. The world map in Echoes of Wisdom is based directly on the layout from A Link to the Past, but expanded. The same map is also used in A Link Between Worlds. According to the developers, Gresso, it's 8 times larger than the world in Link's Awakening, for which they also created the remake. Gresso, who also developed Ocarina of Time 3D and Majora's Mask 3D, returned once again for Echoes of Wisdom because the map follows A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds so closely. We revisit many familiar places, but a lot of time have passed, things change, and not everything looks the way fans remember. Some locations, like the Sanctuary and the Eastern Temple, are still recognizable and well preserved. But now, let's take a look at the more subtle location references hidden throughout Hyrule. In A Link to the Past, Link can visit the Haunted Grove, where the flute boy plays music for the animals before mysteriously disappearing when Link gets close. In the Dark World version of this area, the flute boy appears transformed and asks Link to recover his buried flute in the Light World's Haunted Grove. Link receives a shovel and digs up the flute in the upper left corner among a cluster of flowers. Echoes of Wisdom recreates this same location, complete with the central tree stump and tree layout. The area has no major role now beyond hosting a single pea hat, but one tiny detail stands out. In the upper left corner, the flowers appear in the exact same formation as in A Link to the Past, except the one flower, where the flute was once buried, is now replaced by a small patch of dirt. It's a wonderful little callback, where the game is acknowledging something Link dug up there a long time ago. Echoes of Wisdom also includes the remains of the Desert Palace and the Swamp Palace, both dungeons from A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds. Their ruins still stand in the same map positions, just without functioning entrances, serving as quiet reminders of the past. Link's house in A Link to the Past and A Link Between Worlds sits on a small hill, and Echoes of Wisdom lets us revisit that exact spot. The location matches perfectly, but the house is gone. Only a path leading up the hill remains, as if something once stood there but has long been vanished. I'm glad they kept the hill with the path leading up. It's a nice reference. However, for those who haven't played A Link to the Past or A Link Between Worlds, the two games that share this map, the hill in Echoes of Wisdom might seem out of place, as something is missing. The developers could have just removed the whole hill Link's house used to be on, but they didn't. It brings back memories, this little hill. Speaking of Link's home, this game's Link does have a house, located in Southern Village, where he comes from. The villagers mention him often and say they're still waiting for him to return. In the upper left part of the village, we can find his home. It has the same yellow fiber roof seen in the Minish Cap and a stump with an axe, another detail from that game. We also see a pair of boots, which is a part of Link's iconic outfit. Inside, you find even more references. Link's hat hanging on the bed with the yellow trim used only in the Downfall timeline, which fits perfectly since Echoes of Wisdom takes place on that branch. His bed is messy, which feels like a playful reference to how Link almost always wakes up at the start of the game. A bit of green fabric peeks out of his closet, matching his iconic outfit. Next to his closet sits a wooden owl figure. Owls appear throughout the Zelda series. For example, as Gaipora, who appears in several games, or the owl in Link's Awakening. They serve as guides who offer wisdom or hints to the hero. In some games, There are also owl statues. We can for example see them in Majora's Mask and Link's Awakening. Seeing a carved wooden owl here is a neat reference. There are also 2 green bottles that resemble the magic jars seen in earlier titles. But these look exactly like the bottles seen in Link's house in the Wind Waker, sharing the same red-yellow-red pattern. Lastly, the rug on the floor has the same pattern as the one we see in Link's room in the Minish Cap. Kakariko Village returns as well, and in this game the well is present. In Ocarina of Time, that well leads to one of the most unsettling dungeons in the game, Bottom of the Well. In Echoes of Wisdom, the well is no longer frightening, but its inclusion of the bottom of the well is really cool. Southern Ruins shares several similarities with Skyward Temple from Skyward Sword. Both are the first major dungeon in the game, both are forest themed, both have spider enemies, and as I mentioned in my music references video for Echoes of Wisdom, their soundtracks are very similar. It seems intentional, and it's cool that the first dungeon in the game has a reference to the first dungeon in the first Zelda game in the timeline. Later in the game, in the ancient ruins, we find another reference. This location also has a musical reference implemented to it that I have talked about previously. The area's music includes a clear reference to the ancient spring theme from Skyward Sword, and visually the place mirrors it as well, with pillars, water, and a sacred atmosphere. It feels like a reimagined ancient spring. In Faron Wetlands, a frantic Deku Scrub waits for his love interest at the heart-shaped lake, but a rift cuts the lake in half, making it look like a broken heart. After Zelda and Trime mend the rift, the lake returns to its full shape and the Deku Scrubs reunite. This mirrors both the Heart Lake and Broken Heart Lake from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which also involve meeting loved ones. Echoes of Wisdom recreates this idea beautifully with its own Deku couple. Now onto character references. Echoes of Wisdom includes many known characters and races, but there are some returning characters that haven't been seen in a long time, like the business scrubs, who now run smoothie shops and play a major role. There's also Conde, a Yeti, which has only been seen in Twilight Princess previously, and Lord Jabu Jabu, who has previously only appeared in Ocarina of Time and Oracle of Ages. Let's look into more hidden references within the characters of Echoes of Wisdom. In Goron City, a crying Goron baby misses his father, who was swallowed by a rift. Anyone who has played Majora's Mask will perhaps recognize this scenario. In that game, there is also a Goron baby that cries for missing his father, the Goron Elder. These two scenes, with a crying Goron baby, mirror each other perfectly. Luberry is a new character living in Southern Forest. His appearance and behavior strongly resemble Robbie from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both are Sheikah researchers with white hair, glasses, and a technical background. While Robbie's machine, Cherry, creates ancient gear by exchanging materials and rupees, Luberry's machine upgrades Link's equipment that Zelda uses on her adventure. Echoes of Wisdom also features dogs that look very similar to the ones seen only in Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. It's a subtle but charming detail. Several enemies in the game come from older Zelda titles. The bombfish, for example. It has only appeared as an item previously in Twilight Princess. Further, the Aurodora and Moa enemies also return, originally from the Adventure of Link, which is a fun surprise. But one enemy, which is not from any past Zelda games, is the Tornado. This frog-like enemy controls wind, as we can see as it moves in a little tornado. If you have played the Wind Waker, it may remind you of Zephos and Cyclos, the wind-controlling frog brothers. This reference is really cool to see. The game includes many items, ingredients, smoothies, equipment, clothing, key items and special items. Among Link's classic items, Zelda can for example find a Goron bracelet, Zora scale and Zora flippers. Now let's look into some new items I believe are inspired by past ones. When Zelda unlocks 10 smoothie recipes, she receives the service scope. Its red and yellow design is very similar to the telescope Link receives in the Wind Waker, though this one looks older and more worn. At the Great Fairy Shrine in Lake Hylia, Zelda can increase her accessory slots. After upgrading at least 3 times, a chest appears the next time Zelda visits the shrine. The chest contains might crystals. This triggers a cutscene where the Great Fairy rises from the water and offers to craft the might bell, but only if Zelda brings her a necklace from the Gerudo shop. The shopkeeper gladly creates it, called the Lovely Pendant, if Zelda brings a floral seashell and a magma stone. The Lovely Pendant's design closely resembles the Joy Pendant from the Wind Waker, with a butterfly motif and beads on the sides of the butterfly. It's a lovely and subtle reference. Zelda can also unlock different clothing items in the game. The blue attire is obtained by scanning a Zelda amiibo, and it closely resembles Princess Hilda's outfit from A Link Between Worlds. This reference is really fitting, as the games share the same world. There are many other subtle details spread across the land of Hyrule. For example, the goddess statue in the royal family shortcut looks like the one from Skyward Sword, but it's as small as most of the statues we see in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Seeing it stored away in the basement like this is fitting, since a lot of history has been forgotten at the events of Echoes of Wisdom. Inside Hyrule Castle, a decorative window depicts a bird that looks like a Loftwing from Skyward Sword. Loftwings symbolize Hylia's protection, so seeing one in the castle makes perfect sense. In the throne room, 2 portraits hang, one likely depicting the King of Hyrule, though it's unclear if it's the current king. The other shows a woman, most likely his queen. In Zelda's bedroom, another portrait appears. This one is of Zelda, but again, it's unclear whether this is the Zelda from this time or in the past. In Hyrule Castle Town, inside the house east of the fountain, a Pole's voice plush sits on a bookshelf, referencing the enemy from the first Zelda game, The Legend of Zelda. In the southern ruins, after defeating Echo Link and claiming his sword, the game notes that his name is engraved on the blade. This is a direct reference to Link's Awakening, where the sword Link discovers is identified as his because his name is engraved into it. It's a small but cool detail. The Slumber Dojo in Kakariko Village displays symbols resembling a big key shape that appears in several Zelda games. There is also a cow figurine with a nose ring, referencing the cow bobbleheads scattered through Clock Town in Majora's Mask. Luber's basement also contains an identical cow figurine with a nose ring originating from Majora's Mask. But in his basement we also see a golden eye high on the wall with 3 arrows stuck in it, referencing the identical golden eye with the arrows in Breath of the Wild's Kakariko Village gate that Link needs to shoot an arrow at to get a Korok seed. In Jabul Waters, inside the River Zora village shop, a wooden carving of an evil River Zora sits on a shelf, referencing how River Zoras were traditionally hostile creatures. This detail acknowledges their past in a modern time where both types of Zora are friendly creatures. In Scrubton Village in Faron Wetlands, totems topped with a carved Deku Scrub head appear in several places. The 3-piece totem makes it almost exactly match the totem Deku enemies from Triforce Heroes. It's a fun reference to that game. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. I hope you enjoyed these subtle references and found them interesting. If you found any others, feel free to share them. I'd love to see what you've discovered. I hope you have an amazing day. Goodbye.